What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about a story that everyone has heard at least once in their lives. David and Goliath. Who never, right? But pay attention. Because today we are going to see this story in a different way, with that touch of reality, as if we were there, in the middle of the battlefield, smelling the dust and hearing the screams of the soldiers. Before we start, leave a naughty like and subscribe to the channel, okay? This way you don't miss any incredible stories like this. Well, let's get to the point. Imagine the scene. Two armies facing each other. A tense silence in the air. On one side, the army of Israel, led by King Saul. On the other, the Philistines, with their giant champion, Goliath. Now just imagine, this guy wasn't just any giant. The man was over 3 meters tall. That's right, 3 meters. A true monster with bronze armor that glittered in the sun. A spear the size of a pole and a shield that looked more like a castle door. His description alone was scary, right? Then, every day, for 40 days, Goliath went there, right in the middle of the valley, and challenged the Israelites. He shouted, provoked, made light of it. Who among you is brave enough to face me? Oh? Zendaman? If he beats me, we will become your slaves. But if I win, then, my friends, you will be our slaves. And so it was day after day. But no one moved. The people of Israel were all frightened. Nobody wanted to be the first to go to slaughter, right? Now let's talk about David. This guy was the youngest in Jesse's house, a sheep herder. While his brothers were on the battlefield, David was there, taking care of his father's sheep. But then, Jesse told the kid to take food to his brothers and check on them. David went right, obedient as always. Arriving there, he heard Goliath making that usual speech. And do you know what he did? He began to ask the soldiers, "Wait a minute, guys. What are you going to do to anyone who defeats this giant? What is the reward?" The guys, already a bit out of patience, replied, the king promised riches, his daughter's hand in marriage, and the guy's family won't pay taxes. David stood there thinking. He was just a boy, but his heart burned with courage. And then, brother, that was when he made the decision that would change his life forever. He went to talk to King Saul. That's right. A kid from nothing, tending sheep, went there to have a chat with the king of Israel. Now, just imagine the scene, guys. A boy all frail, with disheveled hair, with that look of someone who's just come from the field, arrives before King Saul. David didn't even have armor, much less the appearance of a warrior. But inside him, there was a courage that no one could see. And he said to the king, "Your Majesty, no one needs to be afraid of that giant there. I will fight him." Can you imagine Saul's face? He probably looked at David and thought, this kid has got to be crazy. And it wasn't surprising, right? Saul somewhat incredulous asked, "But how are you, a boy going to face a warrior like Goliath?" And then, my brothers, David gave an answer that no one expected. He started talking about the times he had to fight lions and bears to protect his sheep. He said, "When a lion or a bear came and took a sheep, I went after it. I killed the animal and rescued the sheep. And that Philistine there, it will be the same. The Lord who delivered me from the lion and the bear will deliver me from this giant." David was full of confidence, not in himself, but in God. He knew that with God on his side, nothing was impossible. And you know what's most impressive? Saul left. That's right. The king let the kid go fight the giant. Perhaps he saw in David's eyes a faith that he himself had already lost. Saul tried to give his armor to David, but it didn't work. The armor was heavy, uncomfortable. David couldn't even walk properly with that on. So, he took everything off and decided to go as he was. He only took the staff, the sling, and 5 smooth pebbles that he chose from a nearby stream. Believe me, 5 pebbles and a sling against a 3-meter giant. David approached the battlefield, and when Goliath saw him, he began to laugh. "What is that? Are you sending a kid against me? The chopstick in your hand? Am I a dog by any chance?" And David, brave as a, replied, "You come against me with sword, spear, and shield, but I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and everyone will learn, brothers." Can you feel the tension in the air? David was there, with his life in God's hands, believing that he was going to perform a miracle. And that's exactly what happened. Let's continue to see how this story unfolds. Now, guys, let's get to the most exciting part of this story. David was there on the battlefield without armor, without a sword, just with the sling and the stones. On one side, he is small, frail, with a gleam of determination in his eyes. On the other, Goliath, huge, muscular, armed to the teeth, laughing in our hero's face. Can you imagine the scene? Goliath began to advance, and every step of his made the ground shake. The giant was so confident that he didn't even raise his shield. He wanted to end David at once, without delay. But David did not back down. He picked up one of the stones, placed it in the sling, and began to spin. He turned, and in a quick movement, he threw the stone with all the strength he had. Now pay attention, guys. That stone flew like an arrow, fast and accurate. And without anyone expecting it, it hit Goliath right in the middle of the forehead. Shabbat. Just one blow. The stone sank into the giant's forehead, and he fell face down on the ground like a tree being felled. That tense silence was broken by a deafening sound, the giant falling to the ground with a crash. The Israeli army did not believe it. The Philistines were in shock. The boy had brought down the giant. David ran to Goliath, took his sword, and, to make sure he didn't get up again, cut off the giant's head. Then, brothers, what was silence turned into shouting. The army of Israel burst into a shout of victory, and the Philistines, they ran away, scared, afraid of being next. David, with Goliath's head in his hand, returned to the camp. He wasn't celebrating alone because he knew that the victory was not his, but God. He was there to show that, with faith, we can overcome any giant that appears in our path. And this message, guys, is too powerful, right? You can imagine the scene. The people all celebrating, David being carried on their shoulders, the soldiers shouting, praising God. A boy, a simple shepherd, had done what no trained soldier had the courage to do. He believed, he trusted God, and victory was certain. This story is a reminder that when we trust God, nothing is impossible. Do you believe that, brother? Look, guys, the story of David and Goliath is an eternal reminder that no matter the size of the problem we face, with faith and courage, we can overcome everything. David was just a boy, a shepherd, but he trusted God with all his heart. And it was this confidence that made him defeat a giant, something that no one else had the courage to do. So, when you feel small in the face of challenges, remember this story. Remember that with God on your side, you can face anything. And now I want to speak directly to you, who is on the other side of the screen. How about taking this faith and courage into your life? How about trusting God more and believing that He can help you overcome your own giants? No matter what your challenge is, believe that you can overcome it. If this story touched your heart, if you felt that it brought a little more hope and faith into your life, then do the following. Leave your like here on the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any content. Share this story with your friends, with your family, with anyone who you think needs a message of courage and faith. Let's spread this word together and show that with God, everything is possible. Amen, brothers. May God bless each one of you, and may we remain firm facing our giants with the certainty that victory is ours. Until next time,